Okay, I'm literally balancing my camera on my Keurig right now, so let's hope that this works out. Hello everybody, I'm Kat. It's been a while since we've talked face to face like this, you know what I mean? You may notice a new background. Yeah, crazy stuff has happened, you know. Welcome to my dorm. If you didn't know, I'm in college now. Crazy stuff. And I haven't filmed a video since early September. And it's now late November. I figure it's time to film a video, especially because I'm not doing anything today. This feels so awkward. It always does whenever I get back to it. In this video, I'm just going to be sharing with you the books I brought with me to college because at the time I'm filming this, it's the Sunday before Thanksgiving break, and I'm going to be taking home most of these books and bringing back new ones because I kind of want to make this video like every quarter I'm in college because my college is on the quarter system, and I've been reading more than I did over the summer, and so a lot of these books I've already read or I've lost interest in reading them over time, so I will be bringing them back. But yeah, without further ado, these are the books that I brought with me to college. Alright, so first things first. This should be no surprise to literally anyone if you've watched my channel for any period of time, but I brought my Dark Artifices paperback set just because it's my favorite series of all time. Lord of Shadows is literally my favorite book of all time. These are now going to live in my dorm for the rest of the year because I have no reason to take them back home because I own multiple copies of them back at home. Alright, now that that's over with, let's get into the real books. A lot of these books are new books that I haven't hauled yet, so you can kind of think of this as a book haul because like 90% of these are books I haven't talked about at all on my channel, so yeah, this is kind of like a book haul thing that we have going on. You know what I mean? It's like a book haul slash bookshelf tour. I didn't bring that many books with me to college. Originally, I brought 10, including the 3 Dark Artifices books. I have acquired quite a few more since moving here. There's not a whole lot. I did not bring my entire bookshelf with me, you know what I'm saying? The first book we have here is My Best Friend's Exorcism by Grady Hendrix. This is about a girl named Abby. It follows her, I think, from the summer into the fall of her sophomore year of high school. One night, she's hanging out with her friends when her best friend goes missing in the woods, and when they finally find her best friend, they notice that something is slightly off about her, and they aren't entirely sure what it is. Over the course of the novel, things get weird. Eventually they realize, oh, it's an exorcism. I read this in October. It was a lot of fun. I really liked the writing style, and it really reminded me of Stranger Things. Like, I know that this is a horror novel, but as someone who doesn't read horror, as someone who doesn't watch horror, I really enjoyed this. If you're a fan of Stranger Things, I would highly recommend it because I believe that this is on like the lighter horror side, but it really reminded me of like seasons 2 and 3 of Stranger Things. Like, it gave off those vibes. If you know what that means, yeah. It was really fun. I ended up giving it 4 stars. It was a fun time. Next, I have Malibu Rising by Taylor Jenkins Reid. I have not read this yet, actually. Will I get around to it? Definitely. All I know is this follows a family who lives in Malibu. I believe it follows this family during one particular night at one particular party. My relationship with Taylor Jenkins Reid is a bit rocky, so let's just say that if I don't like this book, I'm not going to pick up any more Taylor Jenkins Reid books, but if I do like it, I'll give her another shot. This is going to be a deal breaker for me and TJR. Next, I have Jack Edwards' The Universe. This is the ultimate university survival guide. I read this before moving to university. It helped me calm down a lot because I'm a very introverted person. I've definitely stepped out of my comfort zone by moving here, a place where I literally know no one, in an entirely different state. This kind of helped calm me down and help me kind of realize, like, it's okay. We're all going through it freshman year. It was fun. I think I gave it 4 stars. Jack Edwards, if you don't know, is actually a fellow booktuber. I started watching his stuff earlier this year because he is also an English major, and if you don't know, I'm an English major, just like almost everyone else on BookTube. He's also an English major, and so it was fun watching him kind of go through and give advice to people who are also majoring in English. I definitely recommend his channel. He does a lot of fun like reading vlogs. Like, he'll read books that celebrities recommend, and it's really great. So next I have A Midsummer Night's Dream, and I also have the manga version of it. I'm actually reading this for one of my classes this quarter, so as you can see it's like all tabbed up because I've already read it. I gave both of these 4 stars. It's Billy Shakespeare. You can't go wrong with him. The manga was really good. I really loved the art style. It was a lot of fun. Next, I have the manga adaptation of The Stories of Edgar Allan Poe, and all I have to say is that the artists kind of needed to touch some grass, or maybe I do. Like, why is the murderer in the Telltale Heart, why does he look like that? Can someone explain that to me? Also, the narrator in The Raven, I was literally reading this like, dang, do I need to touch some grass? Like, what? Why did these artists go so hard on these literal, like, not good characters? But like, why was the Telltale Heart murderer so fine? He had no business looking like that. I ended up giving this 4 stars as well. Honestly, the only reason I knocked it off a star was because Annabelle Lee was not included in this. The stories that are included are Telltale Heart, Cask of Amontillado, The Fall of the House of Usher, The Mask of the Red Death, and The Raven, just so you know if you're interested in picking this up. This was a lot of fun. I love Edgar Allan Poe, and I read this in October for spooky season, you know? Next, I have Boyfriend Material by Alexis Hall, which I believe I've talked about in a previous book haul, so I probably shouldn't talk about it much here. I still have not read it. Hopefully I'll get around to it. I've heard that if you're a fan of Red, White, and Royal Blue, you'll like this, and that's mainly the reason why I bought it, because I did enjoy Red, White, and Royal Blue, much like other people on Book Talk and BookTube. The next book I brought with me was The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue. I still have not read this book. Do not come for me, okay? I'm sorry. I haven't gotten around to it. I will actually be taking this book home because I own the ebook and the audiobook copy of it, and I only realized that after I had brought this book with me. So the same thing goes for Malibu Rising. I own the ebook and the audiobook of it, so I think I'm gonna return these back to my home bookshelf because I already own a copy of it and have access to it here. I don't need the physical book taking up space on my limited shelf. I think I've talked about Addie LaRue quite a bit because I've been wanting to read it for so long, and I really miss V. Schwab's writing and her world building. Next, I have Dark Wild Night by Christina Lauren. This is the 3rd book in the Wild Seasons quartet, because I think there's a 4th book. This was actually the first book I read after I moved in here because I was like, I need Christina Lauren in my life right now. This book follows Lola and Oliver, and this one has, like, out of the 3 books, this one has the most interesting plotline. Lola's working on a graphic novel while her first graphic novel is being adapted into a movie, and Oliver is running this comic book shop. It's a lot of fun. This is my second favorite in the series. My first is obviously still Sweet Filthy Boy. This is a pretty close second. I ended up giving it 4 stars, I believe. Next, we have my most recent purchase, which is I Was Born for This by Alice Oseman. This is the only Alice Oseman novel I have not read, and all I know is that it follows this band called The Ark, and I think it follows the lead singer and also like a fangirl of the band, and I'm so excited for it. I love band stories. I love Alice Oseman. It's gonna be a fun time. I know it. I really want to read this soon. The next book I have here is Loveless by Alice Oseman, and I loved this book so much. Honestly, like, I kept saying my favorite book of the year was Solitaire, but it's gonna be a toss-up between Loveless and Solitaire. Like, I'm being dead serious right now. I give it 5 out of 5 stars. The book follows Georgia as she goes off to college and begins to realize that she doesn't experience attraction to people the same way that her friends do, and she begins to realize that maybe she's on the asexual and aromantic spectrum and all this stuff as she's adapting to her new life at college. I loved every second of this book. Out of the Alice Oseman novels I've read, because I've read Solitaire, Radio Silence, and now Loveless, this is definitely the most lighthearted of the 3, so definitely keep that in mind. If you're someone who wants to get into Alice Oseman but doesn't want to read like one of the darker books, Loveless is really lighthearted. It has theater kids, Shakespeare lovers, all of it, English majors as well. It's a fun time. I loved Loveless so much. Next, I have Star-Crossed by Minnie Dark, and to be honest, I think I might unhaul this book. I just started reading this book, but I just couldn't get into it. It's about this girl named Justine who kind of hates the whole zodiac sign thing, doesn't really believe in it, but she ends up writing the zodiac horoscope article for a newspaper, and her crush reads that article every day and believes in it so much, and so she kind of writes about it in order to get him to fall in love with her. I think honestly I'm gonna take this back to unhaul it. Next I have Hot British Boyfriend by Christy Boyce. This book follows this girl who gets like publicly rejected, an awful situation. She's absolutely embarrassed, so she decides to study abroad and go to London. Honestly, same. There she meets a hot British boyfriend. This is another book I haven't read yet. To be honest, I brought this thinking I'd be in the mood for it, but I really haven't been. And lastly, the two newest books to my collection are Follow Your Arrow by Jessica Verdi. This is about this girl named Cece and Sylvie, and they're one of those like influencer couples. They end up breaking up and it causes like this whole thing, and then Cece ends up meeting a guy that she really likes. This guy has no idea that Cece is an influencer though, and she kind of wants to keep it that way, but the issue is she has a really big following, so he could easily find out that she's a famous internet person. Last but not least, I have Rise to the Sun by Leah Johnson. Leah Johnson also wrote You Should See Me in a Crown, which is really popular all over social media last year. This follows these two girls at a music festival. They kind of go into the festival and they're dealing with all sorts of turmoil, and so they decide like this festival's gonna be ours, and shenanigans happen. I think it'll be a good time. I've never read a book by Leah Johnson before, but this sounds right up my alley. Again, music festivals, stuff with bands. I love stories that have like some sort of musical aspect, especially like bands, music festivals, concerts, all of that. So this sounds like it'll be a blast. Alright, those are the books I brought with me to college. Let me know down below if you've read any of these books. Let me know your thoughts on them. Let me know which one I need to pick up ASAP. I know I need to read Addie LaRue. I will get to it, I promise. Right now I'm kind of on a romance kick. I'm currently reading The Love Hypothesis. I'm listening to the audiobook, and once I finish that, I think I'm gonna listen to In a Holidays because I need Christina Lauren in my life right now. It's been too long. That is all I have for this video. Thank you so much for watching. I will be filming another one of these very, very soon. Bye!